Who really controls Europe? Maybe the answer isn't in parliaments, but in the vaults of the 10 nations with the largest gold reserves on the continent. Gold has once again become a silent weapon, a strategic pawn in a quiet gold war. But here's the absurd part. Some of these nations, those right at the top of the Golden Giants ranking, are also struggling with massive debt, widespread poverty, and soaring unemployment. And yet, they've made a clear choice that gold stays untouched. Today, we'll reveal the complete ranking of Europe's top 10, exploring their power plays and the often shocking reasons why this treasure remains off limits, even in the face of urgent domestic needs. Welcome to Amazing Europe. Number 10. United Kingdom. We enter the beating heart of global finance, London. One would expect an imperial treasure, and yet, even though it's in this top 10, the United Kingdom holds only 310 tons of gold. Surprising, isn't it? The key lies in a historic, almost shocking decision. Gordon Brown's infamous gold sale in the late 1990s. Believing gold to be an outdated relic, a resource that earned no interest, he sold off nearly half the reserves to invest in currencies, just as gold prices were at their historic lows. The result? A colossal missed opportunity. Billions in potential gains vanished from the state's coffers. Just imagine what could have been done with that money. More resources for public healthcare, education, less debt burden for citizens. A hidden cost paid over the years. But appearances deceive. Britain's true golden power today lies not in owning, but in controlling. London, through the London Bullion Market Association, is the undisputed global hub for trading and storing physical gold. In its ultra-secure vaults lie thousands of tons belonging to dozens of other central banks worldwide, major investment funds, and commercial banks. This hub status creates thousands of skilled jobs in the city, lends credibility to the pound, and grants international influence. A silent yet powerful form of soft power. It also demands extremely high standards of security and regulation, but it concentrates enormous financial risks at the country's core. A costly historical mistake versus immense current influence. What's your opinion? Did the UK make the right long-term bet, or is the shadow of that sale still looming today? Let us know in the comments. Number 9. Portugal. In this land of ancient navigators and imperial past lies a treasure of 382 tons of gold, one of the largest reserves in the world relative to the size of its economy, even more than powers like the United Kingdom. It's a complex legacy, forged from Brazil's colonial gold and the almost obsessive accumulation by Salazar's regime, which saw domestic gold as a symbol of independence. But this gold isn't just history. During the devastating sovereign debt crisis, it became the center of a heartbreaking dilemma. To sell or not to sell? On one hand, desperation. Selling seemed like a last resort to obtain immediate funds, maybe to ease pressure from creditors. After all, the European Union's austerity measures came at a brutal cost for the Portuguese people. Unemployment soared to over 17%, youth unemployment hit 40%, salaries and pensions were slashed, hundreds of thousands were forced to emigrate, and the country was brought to its knees. In this context, many suggested selling the gold, just as Canada was doing, although for different reasons. Others argued that selling it would have been useless and wouldn't have eased the harsh consequences of austerity. In fact, they said it would have been a double blow for the people. It wouldn't have avoided austerity, and it would have given away the last guarantee, the long-term anchor of national credibility. In the end, Portugal chose not to sell, a decision that, although it didn't spare citizens from difficult years, preserved fundamental trust, perhaps helping to contain debt costs and safeguard a crucial strategic resource. It was a bet on the future at the price of a painful present, at least according to the leaders who made that choice. And you, what do you think? Faced with such a dramatic crossroads, what would have been the wiser choice? Sacrificing the treasure to ease citizens' pain, or enduring the crisis while keeping the ultimate guarantee? Tell us in the comments. Number 8. Poland. Get ready for a gold story like no other. In recent years, Poland has launched a real gold rush, not because of some ancient legacy, but thanks to a bold and powerful strategic decision made in the present day. We're talking about 450 tons. But here come the burning questions. Why this gold fever right now, and why the even more sensational move to bring it physically back home? The National Bank of Poland, under the leadership of Governor Glapiński, shocked the markets, first with massive gold purchases, then with the incredible repatriation of 100 tons from the ultra-secure vaults in London directly to Warsaw, through a logistically complex and extraordinary operation. The message is crystal clear. In a world boiling with instability, with tensions pulsating on the eastern borders, for Poland gold is no longer just an investment. It has become the ultimate strategic reserve, an unshakable pillar of national security. The impact on Polish citizens' lives is more tangible than one might think. First, in times of turbulence and inflation, this golden shield strengthens the credibility of the zloty, the Polish currency, protecting savings and helping stabilize prices of imported goods. Second, showcasing this solidity with gold safely at home sends a powerful signal to foreign investors. Poland is a safe and reliable place to invest, and that can mean potential jobs and economic growth. Finally, let's not forget the emotional factor. Knowing that a vital part of national wealth is physically protected in Poland reinforces a sense of collective security and pride. Poland is going all in on the eternal value of gold as the ultimate insurance policy against geopolitical storms. Is it a brilliant strategy that others should follow, or an expensive throwback to the past? Let us know what you think. Number 7. The Netherlands. How do the Netherlands, geographically small, manage to hold an impressive 612 tons of gold, surpassing much larger nations? The answer is a fascinating blend of centuries of history and pure Dutch pragmatism. This national treasure, the product of centuries of mercantile genius, is seen as the safest insurance, the fundamental asset against the unimaginable. The leaders of this country decided to repatriate part of this gold, but not out of ideology, rather for pure strategic planning. In 2014, the authorities took an extraordinary step. Tons and tons of gold were brought back from New York, sending a powerful message to citizens. Your treasure is here. But the truth is even more surprising. Only 31% of the national gold, around 200 tons worth 20 billion euros, actually rests on Dutch soil. So where is this glittering fortune kept? In the new DNB Cash Centre, not just any vault, but a facility nestled within a hyper-secure military complex near Zeist. The rest is strategically distributed, another 31% in the Federal Reserve in New York, and the remaining 38% between the Bank of Canada in Ottawa and the Bank of England in London. We're talking about around 14,000 gold bars and 1,000 boxes containing ancient gold coins. The boldest operation? Between 2020 and 2023, during structural works, the entire treasure of Amsterdam was temporarily moved to Haarlem for renovations. Then came the final phase. For 4 entire weeks, over 200 tons were moved to Zeist in a top-secret mission under heavy police and military escort. For a hyper-connected nation dependent on global trade, this gold represents the ultimate silent collateral, the guarantee that assures the world of the stability of the Dutch financial system. Number 6. Turkey. Although Turkey is a transcontinental country with only 3% of its territory in Europe, it earns a spot on this list due to its very unique relationship with gold, one that goes far beyond state reserves. The Central Bank of Turkey officially owns about 615 tons of gold, a considerable amount. However, this is just the tip of the iceberg in a country where there is a true cultural obsession with the precious metal. The most surprising phenomenon is what's known as gold under the pillow. It's estimated that Turkish citizens privately hold between 3,000 and 5,000 tons of gold, accumulated over generations as gifts, dowries, but most importantly as personal protection against chronic inflation and the constant devaluation of the Turkish lira. For millions of Turks, physical gold represents the true form of savings and security, much more reliable than banks or the national currency. This reality has profound consequences on the country's economy. The central bank uses its official reserves in a desperate attempt to stabilise the lira and combat often runaway inflation. But it's an unequal battle. When inflation bites, purchasing power crashes and prices explode, rendering even the large gold reserves insufficient. Furthermore, this tendency to hoard physical gold removes huge amounts of capital from the formal economic system. Billions of sleeping funds that could finance growth are instead hidden in homes, creating a vicious cycle driven by the historical mistrust of the lira. The government periodically attempts to convince citizens to deposit their gold in banks, but unpredictable economic policies only reinforce the distrust that drives Turks to protect themselves individually. Number 5. Switzerland. Switzerland can be imagined as a Fort Knox in the heart of Europe. It holds 1,040 tons of gold, a glittering treasure currently worth over $100 billion. This isn't new. Switzerland has been accumulating gold since as far back as the 13th century, becoming Europe's vault as early as the 1500s and profiting from other countries' wars, including the Napoleonic ones. Gold even became the only legal national currency from 1848 until the Great Depression in 1931. Since 1907, the Swiss National Bank has been the guardian with a strict legal mandate. 20% of its vast reserves must be physical gold. This gold wasn't only hoarded, it was also traded. But in 1971, when the US broke the link between the dollar and gold, the infamous Nixon shock, the stable Bretton Woods monetary system collapsed, creating global uncertainty. In response, the Swiss bank changed strategy. Viewing gold as safer than fluctuating currencies, it stopped selling and began massively buying to strengthen its financial security, solidifying its treasure throughout the turbulent 70s, 80s, and 90s. But there's a darker side, confirmed by history. During World War II, the Swiss National Bank purchased massive amounts of gold from Nazi Germany, knowingly or strongly suspecting that much of it had been looted from Holocaust victims and invaded nations. Today, however, Switzerland is not only a custodian, it's the world's gold refinery. Its facilities process between 50% and 70% of all global gold, thanks to an unmatched reputation for precision. Financial stability, centuries of wealth, moral controversies, and near-total industrial dominance. All these elements blend into the incredible story of Swiss gold. Number 4. Russia. We now enter the heart of this vast transcontinental giant. Russia, custodian of a gold treasure that has redefined global strategies. We're talking about over 2,330 tons, a colossal figure amassed with feverish speed after 2014. But the real point is not just to understand how much, but also how and why. This is part of a forced march towards de-dollarization, the construction of a physical economic fortress. Think about it. Much of this new gold isn't bought on the global market, but rather extracted directly from Russia's vast mines and transferred into the vaults of the central bank. It's almost total control, from the earth to the vault. And unlike many other nations, Russia made a radical choice confirmed by the central bank itself. 100% of the gold reserve is locked within national vaults, immune to foreign sanctions or seizures. As mentioned earlier, Moscow has followed a bold strategy of de-dollarization, drastically reducing its US dollar holdings. Gold now makes up 34% of the central bank's total international reserves, valued at approximately $250 billion at the time of this video. This passion for gold extends to the National Wealth Fund, a sort of sovereign fund, where, after eliminating dollar assets, physical gold now comprises 20%, alongside euros and yuan. Following sanctions, Russia can no longer freely sell its gold to Western nations, but it has found new routes to bypass these restrictions, selling to markets like the UAE, Turkey, and China. Number 3. France. French gold is not just about wealth, it's a declaration of defiance and sovereignty, tied to a legendary figure in French history, Charles de Gaulle. But let's start from the beginning. France began accumulating gold through its trade networks and colonies, especially in French West Africa. Naturally, Napoleon also played a role in strengthening France's golden power. After World War I, the French demanded and partially received gold payments from defeated Germany. During World War II, they secretly shipped much of their gold to safety, hiding it from the Nazis. Finally, after the war, by selling French products around the world, they accumulated mountains of US dollars, which were essentially vouchers to claim American gold, setting the stage for a major move. You see, after World War II, the US made a key promise to the world's major countries. Keep your savings in US dollars, and we guarantee you can come here anytime and exchange $35 for an ounce of our gold. We're solid. Trust us. That was the core of the Bretton Woods system, but de Gaulle didn't trust it. Among other things, he feared that one day the US wouldn't have enough gold for everyone, or might simply change the rules. So he decided to act fast, take real gold in exchange for dollars while it was still possible, to secure France's wealth. He even sent warships and planes to physically collect the gold bars from New York and bring them back to Paris. Thanks in part to this bold strategy, France today holds 2,437 tons of gold. Number 2. Italy. Italy is a country with massive public debt. Nearly €3 trillion by early 2025. Faced with this shocking number, some have been asking for years. Why not just sell the 2,452 tons of gold held by the Bank of Italy to ease the burden? It sounds like the obvious solution, but many experts say it's a dead end, and for several reasons. First of all, putting that gold on the market would be like publicly admitting desperation. Financial markets, always alert to crisis signals, would see it as a red flag. Italy has reached the end of the road. Trust, the backbone of international lending, would evaporate, forcing investors to demand sky-high interest rates or abandon the country altogether. But there's more. According to economists, even if Italy sold all its gold, it would only cover about 4% of the debt. A drop in the ocean, paid for with irreparable damage to the nation's credibility. And then, of course, there are the EU rules. Article 123 of the Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union explicitly forbids central banks from financing the state directly, which implicitly includes using gold. Any attempt like this would be blocked by the European Central Bank, guardian of the euro, to prevent inflation risks and protect monetary stability. So, what's the point of having all this gold if it can't be sold? According to many experts, its purpose is simply to be there, a silent guarantee. It's the insurance policy that reassures markets in times of darkness. And it has served this role before. In 1973, during a major crisis, Italy didn't sell its gold. It used it as supreme collateral to obtain a vital loan from Germany, which helped it recover. While many believe this treasure should remain untouchable, others are skeptical. We're very curious to hear your opinion. Before revealing number 1, we'd like to remind you about our new channel, America versus Europe, where we compare US states, Canada, and European countries on all kinds of topics. We've actually made a full video about gold reserves around the world, and if you found this video interesting, we kindly invite you to support our channel by giving it a like, subscribing, and clicking the bell so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos. Thank you so much. Number 1. Germany. According to several polls, Germans are afraid of Trump when it comes to their gold reserves. But let's take it step by step. It's no surprise to find Germany at the top, but it's fascinating to understand how and why they've accumulated over 3,350 tons of gold. To grasp the meaning of this treasure, we need to go back to a traumatic moment in German history. In the 1920s, their currency completely lost its value, wiping out the life savings of millions. That fear never truly disappeared. And it explains why Germans are almost obsessed with economic stability and see physical gold, which can't be printed, as the ultimate insurance against money turning into worthless paper. Unlike other countries, most of this gold didn't come from war, but from the post-World War II economic miracle. By exporting massive amounts of goods worldwide, Germany earned foreign currency, which they wisely converted into gold. But here comes the surprising twist. For decades, during the Cold War, fearing a Soviet invasion, Germany kept the vast majority of its gold not in Germany, but abroad, in New York, London, and Paris. Then, around 2012, Germans started asking questions. Where is our gold? Is it really there? The Bundesbank responded with an epic and unprecedented operation. Between 2013 and 2017, they organised the physical repatriation of hundreds of tons of gold from New York and Paris, bringing it back to their vaults in Frankfurt. It was a massive logistical effort, with videos and reports to help restore public trust. But after this partial gold repatriation, a new fear has emerged among Germans. 37% of Germany's gold is still in the US. With Trump and rising transatlantic tensions, some politicians and citizens have been calling for that gold to come home too. They fear that Trump could one day block Germany from accessing its gold, or worse, use it as political leverage, taking actions that might undermine its value or availability. What do you think? Even though these countries have tons of gold, that hasn't stopped some of them from facing low, or even negative, economic growth in recent years. If you want to find out which European countries have seen their GDP drop, check out this video we made about that very topic. That's all for this video. See you next time.